Welcome to the very first episode of Chalk It Up, where no matter if you win or if you lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I am your humble host, Tone DeShields, and I'm so grateful to be here with you guys, and I'm glad that y'all was able to just lock in for the first time with me. This content was created based solely and purely off of my love for sports, and most definitely based off my pure love for my Philadelphia Eagles. And that's pretty much what this content is going to mainly circle around. At the end of the day, we're gonna talk about several things that goes on in the sports world, particularly the football world, but it's always going to come full circle back to the Philadelphia Eagles and how it bounces off of them. It bounces off of the decisions they make. But the sports world, obviously, as everyone is aware of, has been significantly affected by the COVID-19 virus that has taken multiple lives in this country and across the world. And I first want to say my heart goes out to those people that lost family members, lost loved ones, lost friends, and I can't imagine what y'all going through. So I want to first things first, give my condolences and my love to those people who have lost so many of their loved ones during this crisis, and people that have been dealing with it mentally, emotionally, and physically during this whole quarantine. And you know, it's just been really weird not having any sports. It's been significantly odd not having any sports on TV. It's gotten to a point where ESPN is scrambling to have content. It's got to a point where they're starting to show cornhole on TV. I don't know anybody that want to watch cornhole TV, but it's getting even further to the point where they starting to broadcast 2K matches. They starting to broadcast Madden 20 matches. They starting to simulate what if matches and all decade teams, and ESPN, FS1, all those sports networks are just completely lost, and they just trying to do the best they can to keep everyone entertained. And I totally get it. Like I said, my Philadelphia Eagles have made several decisions this offseason, including some in the draft and some during free agency that we loved and we not so sure about. Some say hate, I say, hey, let's take it with a grain of salt and see how it turns out. So we're going to get right into it, you guys. First, let's start with free agency, because free agency came before the draft, and a lot of people had to make a lot of decisions. In particular, the Eagles had to make a lot of decisions on people they wanted to bring back, people they wanted to let go, and some new fresh faces they wanted to bring into the fold to give us the best chance of winning the Super Bowl. We all know, as Philly fans, our weakness has always been our defensive backs. Without a doubt, our biggest weakness has been our defensive backs, and our linebackers have always been somewhat shaky. I feel like we've always had a revolving door when it came to our defensive backs, and we've always had a revolving door when it comes to our linebackers. But when it comes to the defensive backs, we've had the same guys for the past 3 or 4 years or so, and I gotta be honest, as a whole, they wasn't cutting it. We lost Malcolm Jenkins in free agency. He's a Philly legend, helped us secure our first Super Bowl. And we can't forget that he was able to get the Saints Super Bowl as well as rookie. So first things first, I want to say much love to Malcolm Jenkins. A lot of people probably really wanted him back, and I understand that, but I also understand why the Eagles let him go. He was demanding a high asking price. And, you know, for someone at his age, and the Eagles were trying to get younger, they were trying to get faster. And in all honesty, they was tired of getting burnt. They were tired of it. I was tired of it. I was tired of watching Philly Eagles games where Ronald Darby could not guard anybody. Every single time, if it wasn't Ronald Darby, it was Avonte Maddox. And I love Avonte Maddox more than Darby. I think Avonte Maddox actually has a higher upside than Ronald Darby, my personal opinion. But if it wasn't Ronald Darby, it was Sidney Jones. If it wasn't Sidney Jones, it was Rasul Douglas. If it wasn't Rasul Douglas, it was Avonte Maddox. If it wasn't Avonte Maddox, it was definitely Jalen Mills. And he was one of the people I really didn't necessarily want back. But Jim Schwartz sees something in that guy. He loves that kid. And, you know, I can't hate it. You know, the Green Goblin. I can't hate the Green Goblin. You know, the Super Bowl year in 2017, he had a career year. And I can't deny that. But since then, he's been banged up. He hasn't been consistent. And, you know, our defensive backs just hasn't been what we've needed them to be, especially based off of the 2019 season that we all just witnessed. So we let go Malcolm Jenkins, we let go Ronald Darby. Those are specifically the defensive backs that we let go in particular. We also let go Jason Peters. Rumor has that the Eagles are trying to work something out to get him back. I would love to have Jason Peters back, but he's up there in age and his health has always been a concern. But the thing about Jason Peters is his talent, his skill, his mind is unmatched. He's arguably a top 5, top 3 left tackle in this league when healthy. And it's wild. When he's healthy, it don't matter how old he is. No one's getting by him. But there was this one game in particular that I saw us play the Giants, and somebody, I don't know who it was, they lifted this man off his feet, and I was like, oh man, he gotta hang it up. It's done for him. It's done. But then you see games where he's able to just block and put people into the dirt. So let's talk about free agency and what the Eagles did. So to bolster our defensive backs, we had to go get Darius Slay from the Detroit Lions. That was somebody that we've been trying to get for the past couple years, and for some reason the deals weren't able to really work out. I'm not sure what the Eagles were offering at that time or what the Detroit Lions wanted at that time, but nonetheless, we was able to secure Darius Slay, 29 years old, and we traded the 3rd and 5th round pick for him. We ended up giving him a 3-year extension worth around $50 million, and he already had a year left actually on his contract with the Detroit Lions. So total, we got him for 4 years, $60.5 million basically. And for that first year, we kind of got him on the low. I think the first year we only owe him maybe $5 or $6 million, maybe a little less than that. I'm not entirely sure to be exactly honest with you. But nonetheless, we pretty much got him on a cheap. We pretty much got him on a cheap year, and then the rest, we pay him his money. And at the end of the day, if things don't really work out with Darius Slay, the Eagles can always cut him at the year 2 and still maintain a lot of equity. We also went and got Javon Hargrave, D tackle from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's one of my favorite pickups. We all know the Eagles' defensive line is one of the best in the league, but last year they weren't able to really get as much penetration as we thought they would, especially when it comes to the pass rush. The Eagles don't really like to blitz that much. They like to really send 4 guys and let the linebackers, drop back in coverage. Sometimes they'll have that the safety, spying and drop down in the box, which is something Malcolm Jenkins usually did. But we got Javon Hargrave. He was a nose tackle in the 3-4 defense, I want to say, the Steelers ran. But now I think he's going to be at a more natural position at a 4-3 scheme with Jim Schwartz, and I'm truly excited about having him. And we get Malik Jackson back. Remember, he hurt himself in the season opener, so we get Malik Jackson back. And on top of that, we brought in Javon Hargrave, a young stud, 27 years old, on a 3-year, $39 million deal. $26 million guaranteed. And I'll be honest, I'm not one to pocket watch, but man, these brothers is getting cut checks, and I can't even hate it. We also went and got a cornerback, the cornerback from LA, the Rams, Nikel Roby-Coleman, a slot corner, a nickel corner, and that was a good pickup. The last time we had a solid nickel corner was, I believe, Patrick Robinson, and that was in 2017, and we went to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, we weren't able to bring Patrick Robinson back, but nonetheless, we were able to bring in Nikel Roby-Coleman for this upcoming season, if we have a season. I'm praying that we have a season. We also brought in Will Parks from Denver, Philly boy. He had born and raised in North Philly. I just think that's so serendipitous for us to go and get the Philly boy and let him come home. We brought him in on a 1-year deal, so we really didn't break the bank on that. And we also, and like I said, Nikel Roby-Coleman, that was a 1-year deal as well. Not really breaking the bank. Coleman is 28 years old. Will Parks 25. So we've gotten a little younger in the defensive back spot. We've also brought in Jatavius Brown from the Chargers, linebacker, 26 years old, 1-year deal, worth about $1 million, a little over $1 million. Brought in some youth in the linebacker position. See, the thing about our linebacker position, we've never really been too old. We haven't really been old, except for, I guess you want to say, Nigel Bradham, but we've never really been old in the linebacker position for quite some time. We've always shuffled those pieces around. And we've never really had stable linebacker play. So it'd be good to bring in a fresh face, some new energy into that linebacker room. We've also retained Hassan Ridgeway, Jalen Mills, and Rodney McLeod. Now, like I told y'all, I don't really feel too strongly about Jalen Mills. Rodney McLeod, actually like Rodney McLeod. We brought him back on a 2-year deal. Hassan Ridgeway brought him back on a 1-year deal. I like Hassan Ridgeway. I think he's going to be that I think he's going to be that 4th defensive tackle. The Eagles like him at that spot. He's a great rotational piece. He's like a wrecking ball. But Jalen Mills. And we also brought back Nate Sudfeld. 1 year, $2 million deal. He's 26 years old. And that quarterback room is going to be interesting. We're going to talk about that more a little later on in the show. But Nate Sudfeld, good guy, broke his wrist in the preseason game. And we're going to talk about that quarterback room a little later on. But Jalen Mills, he's somebody I'm always fickle about. One game I love him, one game I hate him. But this is the thing about him, about the Eagles bringing him back, which is very interesting. They've decided to not only bring him back on a 1-year deal, they've decided to move him from cornerback to safety. And at first I was like, that's kind of interesting. But it kind of makes sense when you think about Jalen Mills entry into the league. He was originally a safety at LSU. He played a lot of safety at LSU. And he transitioned to cornerback, I guess, so his skill set can translate a little better into the NFL. We personally haven't really seen that except for the 2017 year, the Super Bowl year. But I believe the Eagles saw something in him, especially during the matchup we had against the Patriots this past season. He played a lot of safety during that game. He moved around a lot, and he showed that he was able to be effective all around the field. And that was actually one of his best games of the year. He's somebody that you really want to keep honest. You want to move him around, allow him to affect the game in numerous different ways. It was times they had him in a slot, times they had him, at safety, times they had him an outside corner, times they had him near the box. So I think the Eagles see something in him, and obviously they gave him a 1-year deal, so they're trying to see how it works out. They didn't really commit too much to it, so it's kind of a low risk, high reward situation. But he's going to have large shoes to fill, especially since we lost Malcolm Jenkins. So moving on from free agency, we're going to transition into the draft. Now, the 2020 NFL draft was one of the more different drafts that we ever experienced. Due to the COVID-19 virus, everything was remotely broadcasted. Everything was streamed via Zoom. And we were able to really see these players get the good news in the comfort of their home, surrounded by people they love and care about. And I think that was one of the dopest things about it. But let's talk about the aftermath of the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 draft. So first round, we decided to get, first things first, let me just go down the list of guys we got. And then I'm going to break down my little opinion about those picks, key picks that kind of shook the room. So in the first round, we picked up the wide receiver from TCU, Jalen Reagor. Second round, we picked up Jalen Hurts, quarterback from Oklahoma. Third round, linebacker Davion Taylor from Colorado. Fourth round, safety Kevon Wallace from Clemson. Fourth round, offensive lineman Jack Driscoll from Auburn. Fifth round, we got John Hightower from Boise State, a wide receiver. Sixth round, linebacker Sean Bradley out of Temple, the hometown hero. Sixth round again, we got wide receiver Quez Watkins from Southern Miss. Again, in the sixth round, we got offensive lineman Prince Tega Wanogo out of Auburn. And in the seventh round, to top it off, we got defensive end Casey Toohill out of Stanford. Now, first day of the draft, when it came to the Eagles making their pick, they stood tall where they were. They decided to stay. They decided to stay at the 21st spot. And lo and behold, the Cowboys snuck up and got CeeDee Lamb. Well, they actually didn't even move. He happened to drop in the draft, and he landed right on their laps. It was rumors that the Eagles wanted to trade up to get CeeDee Lamb, but the Eagles, stood tall, and they said, the guy we want is going to be there. Moving on, our pick comes, and the guy I truly, truly wanted, I wanted Justin Jefferson, because that was the guy, he was arguably one of the best wide receivers in the draft. He was a top 4, top 5 wide receiver in the draft, and he was coming off an amazing year, having leading the NCAA in receptions. He coming off a championship year at LSU with Joe Burrow, the number 1 overall pick that went to the Bengals. And everyone just thought the Justin Jefferson pick made the most sense in terms of talent and where he was literally, he fell on our laps. But the Eagles surprised us, as they usually do. And they went and got Jalen Reagor from TCU. 5'11", around 200 pounds, I want to say. Ran about a 4.40 around there. But on his virtual pro day, he ran a 4.240. That guy's grown on me. And I want to, and in other videos that I put out, I'm going to break down my opinion of Jalen Reagor specifically, as I will do on several of the key draft picks that caught my attention. But I think that kid's going to be special. He kind of gives me Tyreek Hill vibes. Moving on, quarterback Jalen Hurts out of Oklahoma. That was the pick that really shocked everybody, because everyone knows the Eagles just paid Carson Wentz all that money. We just gave him a lot of money. And on top of that, he's I don't want to call him injury prone, but he's prone to injury. I got to show my guy love. Like, I don't want to call him injury prone, but anything can happen. And these past few years, he hasn't really been there when we needed him most, except for, closing out this past season. My man went on a hell of a tear those last 4 or 5 games, and he was arguably one of the best quarterbacks around that time. A lot of people like to shit on him for the competition, but at the end of the day, you get it how you live, and you win, and you got to do it. At the end of the day, you do what you got to do, and you play the cards you was dealt. But the Jalen Hurts pick, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was extremely lost. I couldn't even react. I was at a loss. But we got him, and in my opinion, the Eagles got him for an insurance policy. Like I said, Wentz can get hurt. It happens. I think the Eagles' plan is to use him in ways that they probably wanted to use Wentz, but they can't, because they want to preserve his body. They know his true asset is his arm. And like I said, the Eagles really made it a point to bolster their D-backs and linebacker positions. We went and got the linebacker out of Colorado, Davion Taylor. I really like that guy. I've been watching a lot of his tape, and again, I'm going to put out other videos later down the line, talking more specifically about these guys and their skill sets. And one of my favorite pickups in his draft was the safety Kavon Wallace. And I don't know if this was just God or whatever, but the last time we drafted a safety out of Clemson, that was Weapon X, Brian Dawkins, the legendary Brian Dawkins. And just looking at Kavon Wallace and what he brings to the table, looking at his tape, reading up on him, he's a leader. He's a leader first and foremost. He leads by example, and that's the type of person you want. He's vocal. He lets you know when you're doing something wrong. He lets you know when you're doing something right. I like that. I like guys that hold people accountable, and I think we need that in the D-back, in the DB room for sure. Another guy that grabbed my attention was John Hightower and Quez Watkins. The Eagles made it a point to get faster. They made it a severe point to get extremely fast this offseason, and they did that. Grabbing Jalen Reagor, John Hightower, Quez Watkins, and even trading for wide receiver Marquise Goodwin from the San Francisco 49ers. The Eagles really ate on that third day of the draft. They really did. In addition, we bolstered the offensive line with 2 Auburn products. Bolstered the defensive line with Casey Toohill, and got 2 linebackers, Davion Taylor and Sean Bradley. So I think the Eagles really went specifically for need when it came to this draft. The Eagles made it a point to address all the deficiencies that were evident and obvious this past 2019 to 2020 season. The Eagles were handicapped. Once we lost D-Jack, we were handicapped. We couldn't take the top off offenses. We were legitimately stuck. Our offense was very, very limited. We were dependent on Zach Ertz to make big plays, and he's not really the rat king. Zach Ertz is actually the rat queen. He doesn't really do much after he catches the ball. Once he catches it, he kind of goes down, which I respect. Preserve your body. You're tight end. You got to get physical anyway. I understand. But I don't really look for Zach Ertz to really get racked, But moving on, transitioning to the undrafted guys. I'm going to dive deep into more of those guys on my own, and I'm going to release other content surrounding those guys as well. But in particular, Some guys that grabbed my attention right away that I immediately looked up tape on was Adrian Killins, running back out of Central Florida. And that kid can run. That boy can run. Oh my God, that boy can run. Oh man, like if you got any time on your hands, look up Adrian Killins, running back out of Central Florida. His highlights, the boy is a home run hitter out of this world. Out of this world. And the Eagles really added a lot of D-backs, they gave themselves a large sample size when it came to D-backs, because we need a culture shift. And what I mean by that is we need to hold more guys accountable. We need to let guys know that at the end of the day, you need to earn it. You need to want it. You need to want to be here. And the three things that the Eagles wanted to focus on that Howie Roseman wrote down on a piece of paper that he mentioned. He said, can he run? Is he healthy? And does he love to play the game? And those three things, I can live and die by that. I can live and die by that. So the Eagles made it a point to recharge the wide receiver position with pure speed, ball trackability, and competition. We all know Nelson Aguilar couldn't track a ball to save his life. And we injected competition. We need to let guys know, listen, if you want this spot, you got to earn it. You got to put that work in. And at the end of the day, we only want the best guys. We only want guys that want to be here, that want to ball. And just judging by all the draft picks we got, those guys have a mental that's admirable and something that I can get behind. So including Kavon Wallace and Darius Slay, along with the undrafted guys, the Eagles brought in around 5 or 6 new DBs to inject some youth and a balance of youth and veteran leadership into that DB room, which is amazing. I'm so happy about that. So I really hope we have a 2020 season. The Eagles, I have a strong feeling about those guys. And of course we got a lot of growing pains, and it's gonna be kind of weird because the guys aren't able to get together and really, run plays and go through the playbook together and really get to know each other's habits and, what makes them tick and, the best position to put them in to succeed. I know that's going to be a challenge, but I really got a lot of faith in our Eagles. And I want to say thank you guys for locking into the very first episode of Chalk It Up with your boy, Tone DeShields. And I'm so glad that y'all locked in with me. I'm so glad. I got more content, more episodes coming out. We're going to break down a lot of these guys as far as what they bring to the table. We're going to talk about so many other things surrounding the Philadelphia Eagles and in the NFL, and how it always comes back to the Eagles, because they're my pride and joy, you guys. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the content and to my YouTube channel. I'd be so grateful and I'd be so appreciative if your guys just keep locking in with me. You know what I'm saying? Keep keeping me company, because at the end of the day, I love this football thing. I love my Eagles, and I know y'all do too. I'm dying hard, man. I bleed green. It's in my veins. So I want to salute y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Chalk It Up, where at the end of the day, if you win or if you lose, you just got to charge it to the game. I'm Tone DeShields. See y'all next time.